Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be covering what was the missing children's incident. So, let's begin. The missing children's incident took place on June 26, 1985 at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria had originally been founded in 1983 as a spin-off of the previously existing Fredbear's Family Diner. It is generally believed that by this point in time, Fredbear's Family Diner was long gone, most likely due to the Bite of 83 that had taken place 2 years prior. Now, it was on this date, on June 26, 1985, a man known as William Afton, the founder of the company, used an old retired suit known as a spring-lock suit. These suits were used back during the Fredbear's Family Diner days, which operated with animatronics and suits. They could perform on stage like an animatronic would, but using a hand crank, they could pull back the robotic pieces so players could wear them like a suit and act as a walk-around character. These were retired due to multiple and simultaneous spring-lock failures at a sister location, as stated in the tapes in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. He used the spring bonding suit in particular, exactly why is unknown, but he used that suit to lure 5 children out of the main area and into a back room, most likely the safe room, in which is where the users of these spring-lock suits would put on the suits and where they're instructed to go in case of a spring-lock failure to go bleed out, so the customers would be traumatized and see such a graphic and gory, most likely death, or at least manglement and dismemberment. Now, the first person we know, and we know the first person he lured away, was a girl named Susie. She was the first we know it, who in the missing children's incident. Following that, we don't know the order, but we do know in the end he lured away 4 more children: Fritz, Gabriel, Jeremy, and Cassidy. And following him killing them, he would go on to stuff them in the suits of the 4 animatronics that existed at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. It's generally accepted that Susie was stuffed in the cheek of the chicken, and it is generally accepted that Gabriel was stuffed in the Freddy, Jeremy was stuffed in the Bonnie, Fritz was stuffed in the Foxy, and the retired Fredbear suit had Cassidy put into it, as he had run out of suits. It's generally accepted that Cassidy was the one he should not have killed, as exactly why, in specific, he should not have killed her is unknown. It is unknown. Now, these kids would go on to possess the animatronics, another reason why I didn't move around at night. Though Cassidy's animatronic does not move around, as hers was left in suit mode, meaning that it is incapable of actually walking around. That's why in the game she only appears as a hallucinatory spirit, as she cannot physically be there, but she is able to project herself there. That's why a giant Fredbear head, a golden Freddy Fredbear head, appears in your hallway in FNAF 2, and why she randomly appears in your office paranormally, even if you have all the doors shut, especially if you have all the doors shut actually in FNAF 1, because she's projecting herself as a spirit. Now, exactly why he committed these murders is exactly unknown. But we do know that in the following days and weeks afterwards the incident, the animatronics began to leak blood and mucus out of their mouths and eye sockets, and parents and legal guardians who brought their children to Freddy's compared them to quote-unquote reanimated corpses, end quote. And this led to an investigation by the police and the health department, though they were unable to find the bodies, and eventually Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria shut down by the end of 1985 due to people not wanting to go there anymore, due to the fact that 5 children had disappeared there, and the unsanitary nature of animatronics leaking blood and mucus from their pores, particularly the eye sockets and the mouths. Now, as I stated previously, exactly why William Afton committed these murders is unknown. It's possibly theorized that he wanted to unlock the secrets of immortality, and having these children, and that this in some way would have led to him figure out how to unlock that, possibly through a thing known as Remnant. What exactly Remnant is particularly unknown, but it seems that he could have possibly accessed this through this method of the children possessing the bodies. Now, following this, the children would continue to possess the bodies of the animatronics. These animatronics would be the ones in FNAF 2, would be the withered animatronics FNAF 2, and eventually would be re-repaired and be the new animatronics at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria in the 1990s, in where you play as Mike Schmidt in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Now, following the closure of the Freddy's that we play at in the game, it would be shut down. And as in the Five Nights at Freddy's free mini games, William Afton would break into the facility and dismantle the animatronics. And following that, their spirits would chase him into the safe room. He would hide in the spring lock suit, which he used to lure them in there to kill them, and he would tragically meet his fate in there. This is exactly how they met their fate in there. Now, there was a very similar incident that happened as the Dead Children incident, which took place 2 years later in 1987. We will cover this in another video, but what separates this from that is that this was at the new and improved location, and these children were not missing, they just were killed. Right. Now, this incident has been shown in various forms. In Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit, a video game based off of the graphic novel and short story from the Fazbear's Fright series, the bodies are actually shown to the public. The people see the bodies, as what we see here in that game is from the missing children's incident, as it is generally accepted that the spring bodysuit that kills these children and later attempts to kill Oswald is not really William Afton, but rather a manifestation of the agony of the tragedy that took place here, as manifested in this form. And so what we're seeing here isn't literally the actual missing children's incident, as the public saw the bodies. People saw the bodies full on, face front. Rather, this is just a recreation of it, really, through agony and the pain it caused by it, basically. And of course, we also see it in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, as in the motion picture from a few years ago. We see an 8-bit version of William Afton leading the children away to the back room. Right? And of course, there's also another one that took place in the novels. So the novels are a separate canon from the book, from the video games. We're covering the games for now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this helped you explain. I hope I helped you explain exactly what the missing children's incident of 1985 was. Hope you enjoyed the video. Cover more later, next. Alright, well, bye, have a nice time.